I'm Lisa. I'm the Barefoot Pampered chef, and tonight I'm going to show you one of the many other things you can do in your brownie pan besides make brownies. We are going to make mini cheeseburger pies. And they sound really good and they smell really good right now. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our manual processor and we're going to put in 1 1/4 cups of pancake mix, or whatever baking mix you happen to have on hand. To that, I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of milk, so I have my mise en place in place. I'm just going to pour that right in. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter that I've melted right in my 1 cup prep bowl. And I'm going to add 1 egg. Like I always say, it is better to buy fresh, and these are fresh from my chickens outside, so I didn't even have to buy them. We're going to pop the lid on this manual processor, and we're going to make a batter. Now this batter is going to be fairly thick, but that's okay, it's supposed to be. Kind of mix it up here. It's looking pretty good. Nice and thick batter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the blade carefully, which is super easy to do, and just scrape some of the mixture off of there so we don't lose it. And now we're going to take this, and I've already sprayed my brownie pan with a little bit of non-stick cooking spray or some extra virgin olive oil. You can use the Pampered Chef Kitchen Mister for that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put a nice little spoonful in each one of these wells. It is not going to cover the bottom. That is okay, because it's kind of going to be pushed up the sides with our remaining ingredients. So I'm just giving each one of these about a tablespoon, just down into the bottom there. And as you can see, this batter is fairly thick. You might be able to add some more at the end after you do a tablespoon in each one. And it should fill up the whole brownie pan. What's nice about a lot of the Pampered Chef recipes, which this is one, is that it will tell you what consistency to look for, or what you want to look for when you put it in the pan itself. So I've got all of these fairly full with 1 tablespoon. I'm going to add a little bit more to that one because he looks a little lonely. Scrape that in a little bit there, maybe a little bit more in that one too. And we're going to set this aside for a few seconds. Now I've already got my oven preheated to 375 degrees, because as soon as we're done doing this, we're going to pop those in there. Now in my batter bowl, I put 1 pound of ground beef, and then pop that in the microwave for about 5 minutes, stirring halfway through until it was nice and brown. To that, I'm going to check my recipe so we know. We're going to add 2 green onions. We're just going to chop the end off here. Now pardon my knife skills, they're not amazing, and if I keep my finger up like this, Chef Ann is going to come draw on it, so I shouldn't do that. For all of you Food Network fans. I'm just going to chop this up with the greens. Those are the good part too. Move these over a little bit. Keep your fingers back. We don't want any fingers in our food. And I keep putting that finger out there, and Chef Ann's going to yell at me. So I've got all of these chopped up, and I'm going to add them straight into my bowl after I get the batter off of my finger. So all those go right in there. And then I'm going to add some shredded cheese. Now the whole recipe calls for about 3 ounces of sharp cheddar. So I'm going to use half of that in the batter, or in the mixture. So I'm just going to use my microplane coarse grater, pop it in the handy dandy food holder here. We're going to do this that way. Slide this on. Ah! Okay, slide this on first. And then put in your food. Do it the right way. And then we're just going to push down on this while we're grating, and it'll grate that cheese extra fast. If you buy block cheese, it's a little bit less expensive than your store-bought shredded cheese. And I'm going to take this last 1.5 ounces or so, and I'm just going to shred that into a prep bowl so we can sprinkle it on over the top. Sometimes you have to be smarter than the bowl. There it goes. Make sure I get it all out here, because we want that really gooey cheesiness to be on top of our cheeseburger bites. And to this, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of ketchup and a tablespoon of mustard. Now these, you can top them any way you want them. I would pretty much top them any way I would top a cheeseburger. You can top them with lettuce, you can top them with chopped up pickles, tomatoes, bacon, anything you really want. So we're going to mix up this mixture just until it's all nice and incorporated together. If your meat's a little warm, that cheese is going to start to melt, which is fine. That should be nice and incorporated there. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of this and pop it into each of my trays. And I'm just going to push down a little bit to get that batter to push up the sides a little. It's going to puff up as you cook it though, so that's okay. So right down in the middle. Oh, these are going to taste so good. Just the cheese and the meat and everything just kind of wafting up. You can smell the ketchup and the mustard. It smells like there's a really lovely cheeseburger sitting right in front of me. So I'm just going to fill up the rest of these really quick. And then we're going to top them with our shredded cheddar cheese. And we're going to pop them in the oven for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to have dinner. So I always like to do dishes that you can have the kids help you make. The grating of the cheese is usually a really fun thing for them. The mixing of the meat mixture. Depending on what age your kids are, you can always have them do different jobs. I think I'm shorting some of these, so I'm going to come back and put some more in each one here in a minute. Got some left over. If you have some left over, you could always use it for tacos or something else. Fillings are always great for that. I'm just going to plop it in the rest of these. Alright, looks like we're good. Sprinkle this cheese over, and I'll show you what they look like before we pop them in the oven. And like I said, we're going to do 15 minutes for 375 degrees, and you'll have a nice dinner for your family. You can serve these on top of a little sprig of lettuce or a bed of lettuce, just to make a little bit of a different presentation there. So I've got my cheddar on all of these. And this is what they look like before we pop them in the oven, and afterwards they're going to look like nice little mini cheeseburger pies. So everything you found here today, including the recipe, can be found on www.pamperedchef.biz/Lisa Wright, LISAWRIGHT. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at #BarefootPC. And you can find me on my YouTube channel, The Barefoot Pampered Chef. I hope you had fun today, and you know one more way to use your multi-purpose brownie pan. And good eats!